Thoughts on this Ruri post? Oh, Sarah of the Lake. Every single time Sarah of the Lake posts something, I tremble, bro. I start visibly shaking because I never know what's gonna happen next. What's it gonna be? Who is it gonna die? What war shall we encounter today? Let's take a peek over here. Okay. Walking in. Okay, there's no leakers, right? There's no leakers, right? Just to be completely sure. Because bro is saying walking into the future. There's no leakers, right? Not in Ruri's post. Okay, so I'm guessing the comments have leakers. Alright, don't worry about it. Just holy shit. Okay, yo, ding, Clip Shell, take this. Clip Shell. Yo, KK, thank you so much for the right? Sarah based 4-star unit. 4-star was meant to be a weaker alternative to the limited 5-star of the same archetype. The power leveling was set as weaker than 5-star at E0, slightly stronger than E0 5-star at C6. It really depends a lot. It depends a lot, to be fair. Having some flaws in their kit one way or another, but with the current 5-star unit situation, where Evernight E0 damage is 3 times more damage per AV than E0 deal, not to account the fact that she is faster, tankier, more versatile, skill point positive, everything, this absurd amount of gap within this linear difficulty of gameplay, aka add more zeros, tied HSR's hand and make them not being able to release any 4-star that fits the requirement above. So how does HSR fix this problem? They release a free limited 5-star instead. And I think from now on, whenever the content start to scale too hard, HSR will forever use this method to heal their game. If they manage to release a 4-star unit, I'd be very surprised. And I'm pretty sure many would as well. So that is thoughts number 1 for the 4-star units. Thoughts number 2, full-on archetypes selling. Example, a Happy Meal combo. From what we saw in the entirety of version 3, despite community hate towards Remembrance, apparently their sales did very, very well, despite the fact that the archetype cannot use any free light coin at all without a significant loss to the team. You kinda need a full team battleship, 记忆正减 to perform well. Look at how a 3-cost Castrium without Evernight or Castrium without Hyacinth performs. Can you pass the stage? Yes. Is it painful? Yes. Some of the banners were also too close to each other, so you either spend lucky, very strict with yourself, or you're probably busted. Not everyone can play the game like a speed runner. 90% of the player base is casual. Although it is mandatory for the player to learn how to play the game, not everyone can pull out a 100 performance from the team, plus relic management is well. I almost burped. It is a relic outdoor, so what is the fix? Pull new units surprise, mold harder, and if you want to have fun with weird team but you still want to get fast clears, pay up. Pays out. Anyway, back to the topic. With how well Remembrance sells in the past year, it is very likely that Elation path will also follow the same footsteps of Remembrance. So if you want to play into the new archetype, you better get ready, as they will definitely pull some stunts, and you might end up spending. Remember, pun intended, you either fully commit or none at all. Missing 1 or 2-star on your endgame content is still cheaper than wasting 90 pools for one character, especially if you don't like them. This is absolutely factual, by the way. For Sparsi and Yao, I have no idea what they do, by the way. I have no idea what they do. So I don't know anything about them yet, but from my out account, I will only get Sparsi and E0 as one. Also, I will not pull anything from that point as well. Let's see how bad it would be when you only love one character but not fond of the path. For the main, I'll still pull everything, so you still have something to watch. Don't worry. What are your thoughts on this topic? Damn. This is from the GOAT Zero Cycler, by the way. From very, 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 very long ago. This was the one of the best Zero Cyclers that's actually gonna be from the EN server. Let's take a look at what the comment section over here has a little bit of. Okay, wait, oh Sarah, can we even read the comment section? Or am I gonna get banned? Do I need to read the comment section? Can I read the comment section before I proceed? I wouldn't risk it. Okay, I'll read a little bit. Until I see a red flag, I will stop immediately. Right, so we'll go down one by one. We'll go down one by one. Okay, I think this was pretty good. We think alike on these issues. Guys, see, man, people enjoying the games in their own ways. Here are some thoughts on how people can enjoy the game. Okay, this was very, very safe. For the devs, new 4-star or above older characters, including 4 stars. What makes the difference between 4 and 5 stars? Is it a golden background color? New characters are way too strong now with no downside. New path is boring if it's remembrance all over again. For the players, have a goal doesn't need to be clearing endgame. Try to have an account that barely clears. Try different team instead of investing everything into one team. For me, it will be the new elite bosses. I always interested to see what they do, not that the new. Ooh. The Uma Musume boss, right? The Uma Musume elite just straight up one shot your entire team, which honestly is gonna be a little bit painful. So there's gonna be that. Okay, I think this still looks pretty safe. Skipped all remembrance DPS, and I have no regrets. I can still zero cycle MOC every reset of the boys. Something tells me the boys are not E0. But let's continue on a little bit. I can't. I think this is fine. I think this is generally fine. I wouldn't worry too much about it. Okay, this was pretty okay. Alright, this was pretty okay. I've enjoyed 3.x meta greatly as someone who skipped Remembrance package and continued doing what I always did. Pull for the DPS I like and invest in their own team. This is very, very good, by the way. If you are somebody that pulls for the DPS that you like and you invest into that DPS, you will not fall under this category. Oh, wait, not facial. You will not fall under this category of people, by the way. This category of people are people that only either pull for DPS or they pull for DPS. So I'm talking about those people that have like Boothill Firefly wrap up and then they skipped Fugue. And they're like, oh my god, why is my break team doing no damage? You know what I'm saying? Okay, but let's just go on a little bit. In 3.x, even if one team was stronger, pretty much everything paid off with investments to clear with at least what I consider my goal. Low zero cycle, blah blah. So I enjoyed it, even if my old characters are, even if the old characters I like also fell off. I think I would feel differently. Yo, Amy, watch out, what up? Bro is winning the video, absolutely. I would feel differently had they not released anyone I like. But that's another story. I won't pull new path for the sake of new path. Oh, this is also very, very true. Or anniversary corrector for meta reasons. Down to see how 4.x treats the pull who I like plan. Okay, very fair, very reasonable. Okay, this was pretty. My question is, what's the point in having 4-star requires less levels and trace materials than 5 stars if they are just not gonna release 5 stars? Weirdly enough, I struggle more with 2.x endgame. That's because Aircron broke everything. As someone who didn't invest in the brick or HMZ until late into the version, I lost stars whenever there were a poor match in the enemy lineup. Okay, very, very fair. But after 3.x, after blah, 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 I realized how I could optimize my gameplay, blah, 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 blah. Very good, very good. Clear. Oh my god, this guy's yapping, bro. Okay, without mentioning leaks, I'm no longer confident of my way of putting who I like plus supports if I don't dislike them can carry me through the elation meta. Aside from Marcin and sometimes Lynx, that's crazy. None of my 4 stars can reasonably be used anymore, which is sad. I will continue sticking around for the story, but endless HP inflation definitely makes endgame less and less appealing for the wise with husbando brutal like me to continue balancing meta chasing with my strong bias with certain pretty pixel people does not seem like a fun time, and watching and having fun is the whole reason why I picked up this game to begin with. Anyway, yapping session over. Doom poses I will still look forward to see what they can cook up in 4.x. Very, very good. I definitely miss early HSR. One of my favorite games. I like the amount of options we had in the early game. Blah, 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 blah. The game and the team building have become more mundane and linear as progressed. We are prescribed to what to play, how to play, with what units to roll. No creativity is left in the game. There's clearly a correct way to play. I miss 4 stars, but I don't expect them to release any. And if they did at this point, it wouldn't be now to lift up the now date 4-star only archetype. Okay, I consider to pull full elite. Okay, I think this might be a little bit scary, so let's just not. I skipped Remembrance meta entirely. So we have Herda, Anexa, Tribby, Hyceland, Cyrene, DHPD. These are the characters who I ended up with after 3.7. The hardest struggle was pulled out with negative HP mechanic. Discussing Hyacinth shielding, was sad to see Herda get a short stick. Overall, I've never even a 5 cycle clear. 2 to 3 cycles, sometimes 0 for fun. As long as this continues, I'm probably gonna skip Elation through. Yao Guang is gorgeous, and I'm not. Oh my god, bro hates Sparkle. Oh my god, bro hates Sparkle. She's annoying to me. And if Sparsy is a requirement for the Battleship Elation, then yeah, I am going to wait for someone else. And there's wow. Someone with a half-baked remembrance team, genuinely happy with their performance, only really casual is brave throughout the entire package. E9 RNG's irony is a complete team that works even with these videos as a sustain. That's very, very questionable. I like having a 13 to play beyond my super investor and next time fight on. Besides that, Break is fun with Black Swan buffs. I would love to try DOT and all that kind of things. Okay, I'm not going to read more in case they mention something. I only got Cyrene for my mining and the next time I didn't regret it. On the other hand, my out account has all remembrance units. I only put for casters like of necessity, but others are using free to play icons and still doing really, really well. Suffice to say, remembrance ended up being my favorite path, but my favorite unit is still D Herda. E2S1 is gonna be a very, very good amount of investment over there. Takes so fire that you cry over how true it is. Back in my day, I think it can be good if they give 10 more character to standard, so if I lose 50-50, I can still get the new character. Hages are artists are getting out of hand. Playing this game since 1.0, I was hoping the game would offer fancies and creativity in team building and all that, but now all that matters is pulling for the new 5 stars without any respect for our wishes for 4 star. They force us to follow what they want, what matter creator, and sure they are, but not as fun as it used to be when you can clear content with cheap and unique team combinations. Really hoping for a change if I decided would look that way. I will too be surprised if they release a 4 star with a strong meta placement. I had a feeling after casual release, the haters are gonna change for the worse. I told myself when she's invited, I'll show it like I did with Genshin around the HSR release. Miss the days where 4 stars were viable and you actually had to strategize. Now it's basically just an auto battle. I'm done chasing meta for endgame clears. I'm only pulling for characters I want from now on, regardless of whether or not I have a team for them or not. I mean, I have E6 Firefly, but I wouldn't pull Dahlia just for the rainbow portrait. No, thank you. That is crazy. Funny thing is, I've been saying this since the game launch. I recalled this actually as my first worry ever since I started with playing the game. And the first, okay, also so far, chat, there has not been a single leakers, by the way. All the comments has been very, very friendly, very Darway friendly, if I can say so myself, right? Ever since I started playing the game, and of course, to gauge whether or not I should whale in this game. I did in the end anyway, just admit that you're a gambler. Because ever since I saw the gameplay, I know it will just turn into a power creep shitstorm real fast and event. Holy shit. Oh my god, bruh. Okay, here's exactly what we're gonna do. Summarize this for me. Yeah, I ain't reading all that. Alright, we're gonna use the power of AI. The author feels vindicated about their long-term blah 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 were invented for in the power grid shitstorm. They argue that the games were holy shit. Summarize in one paragraph within 200 words. Yo, say go day. Thank you so much for 21 months. AI, absolutely. Okay, the author feels vindicated in their day one prediction. HSR will have a power creep hellhole. They argue that HSR simplistic turn-based mechanics are developers with no choice but to use number inflation and reskin powers to incentivize pools, whereas Genshin Impact can rely on exploration gimmicks and diverse gameplay to maintain longevity. While the community was initially distracted by HSR's generosity and free pools, the author contends that these rewards mask a predatory meta cycle where characters have a short shelf life. As a high-spending whale, the author accepts this reality with detachment. They expected their E6 characters to struggle against HP inflation because the game's for-profit model demands constant obsolescence of old units in order to sell new ones. Ultimately, they view it as a game designed for tryhards who traded Genshin's stagnation for a treadmill of power creep, concluding that the current state of the game, where 4 stars are obsolete and full team requirements are mandatory, was an inevitable consequence of its basic design. Would you like me to analyze whether blah 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 for older E6 character? Nah, I'm good. Thank you. Yippee! Have fun with my pools. I love growing through the AI. Okay, that's very nice. Yeah, agreed. Full battleship is too costly. I can't manage that, and I'm not gonna increase my spending for that. I am going with none here. I gave up on clearing endgame with full stars. I settled for 1 star. As a matter of fact, I don't even bother with anomaly arbitration. It doesn't even give strategies. This gives me more bandwidth to pull who I like. On the plus side, that just means less characters to focus my pools on. I'll take that. I skipped Remembrance final entirely. I'm still able to clear with 3 stars. Let's see how long this does and how worse it gets. Okay, I would like to see some changes made to the relic system. This would be a very nice change. Yes, it would be nice if HSR actually implement this. I'll be looking forward to see if version 4 can get that, but that would be a really, really good change. W change. Make subsets only have one value like Zenless Zone 0 for like speed, blah, 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 blah. Remove. Okay, this guy just bitching already, so that's great. I would love to see all this probably. And there it is. And there it is. Greedy behaviors from developers, honestly. The free 5-star and buffing all 5-stars are just useless attempts. No sparkle and crazy relics equals to mid-archer. Not everyone watches enough to know how to spend on crazy upgrades like Tribute E1 or E1 over S1. And buff DPS sucks. Blade, Jingliu, you name it, you still have to spend on other characters for them to be decent. HSR 4-star was a huge success. Man, I miss my Luca DPS. As a whale and score chaser / zero cycler, I find that not having new Forza is such a waste of potential of opportunity, and this is coming from someone who has items in almost every single unit. I'd rather play with a weaker alternative. It means I can invest in my favorite character without making the game too easy. Also, I really want to see someone like Maito, a hyper specialized 4-star that literally can't do shit other than one role. That will make team building. We do have that in HSR, by the way. Bro's name is called Mose, but let's just go on. I think it is somewhat of a new bar suffers from Remembrance, the first full new bar they introduced here. And since all the units are 5-stars, there's really no decent free light coins, and it feels like it's a full-on cash grab to invest as I put cash in a weapon. But as a free-to-play, I couldn't bother any of our best teammates. I still have Tribute and RMC, and that is about it now. If they keep releasing more eventually, we'll get into a more stable state. Learning how to play low cost DPS are funner to me. Edu, Herda, Anexa, E1, Archer, Sparkle, blah 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 blah. This is not low cost. But okay, sure. Oh, by the way, I lost 50-50 on Dahlia. I'm so sad that I cannot revive my Firefly team. Yep, just kill her in game. New paths didn't give new team art type. This was like IPC scam. And there it is. I blame Topaz, right? Bro got power crap by Mose, and now bro is scamming the entirety of the HSR community. We have millions of photo up, Kafka, Sena, Aircrons, and Diva, 2 skill point drainers, and that's all. I have no idea what that is. My goal is to eventually invest into ever. Something Sparkle. In 3.8, I skip all remembrance by Cyrene. Okay, that's very good. I think I'll do the same for 4 points. Pull for Yao Guang because I like it and skip the rest. Let's see how well it turns. Okay, I'm guessing this is probably E6 Irene. Alright. I think this is the only rule. But let's just move. I can imagine how disappointing it was regarding preservation and abundance when Elation Sustain was injured. I have no idea what Elation Sustain. I'm starting to abandon to full start endgame and sometimes take a break even for like half of one batch. If limited characters doesn't interest me at all, if I can make under like 5 to 6 tries to full star, yes. If I can't, I don't care. That's fantastic. I have 1 remembers on my account, RMC. With 1 remembers like on Herda store. I have no Hazin or Tribute. I put Dota, Anexa, and 2. Okay. Results only lost 1 endgame star total since 3.0. Clear every single anomaly opportunity in King Check. It's 80 Jades, doesn't really bother. I funnel all my pools into Archer instead, and now I will reap the Sparkle, Nova Flare, and Devils. This guy's very, very nice. Sparkle, okay, I have no idea what's that. I have always put my favorite characters when the meta didn't suit them, blah blah. I'm still able to collect all endgame J. 0 second and blah blah wasn't realistic forever, but I'm a story enjoyer. That's very, very good. One thing I learned from the 3.x meta is to pull all your favorite DPS. They are light cones. As a husband and droids I had that we didn't get a single male remembers. I mean, technically you can just play as Cassius. Yeah, unfortunately, Behold doesn't let us change gender, so it's gonna be quite rough over there. Not interested in playing in putting 4.0. I see what characters, that's fine. Blah 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 blah. Don't really agree with the Forza comment. I think our MC Power could easily be a Forza creator, and that's still very useful till this day. The real reason they don't because there's no design space for Forza. It's because you only have 1 MC. So by taking those hits into the Trailblazer path, they can force you to roll for replacements if you need MC on another path. After Dahlia to keep Fireflies alive, I'm not pulling for anything until anniversary except for Sarija because I lost 50-50. Just don't lose. Yeah, next time just don't lose. Only get Sparsi, okay? I hate how bad the alternatives are for Remember. I still invest into characters and invest into other teams instead. And yeah, without the higher scene and higher scene Lycone, I started reading on Aaron, the performance is bad. You stopped investing into characters, but you have no higher scene, you have no higher scene Lycone, you have no Cyrene, and you have no Evernight. So what do you invest? Okay, but don't worry about it, which put a burden on a player, blah, 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 blah. The other issue is the two elation of 4 points, and now it seems to be very specific, and so far it seems that the performance of will fall if you select set units. I'm guessing skipping 4.0 is the best way, blah, 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 blah. The R-type cannot use any free like without significant loss to the team. Same for every single setup. People have stopped calculating characters, so I'm pretty sure in the best of her signature difference from Pilot is less than his LOL. In my opinion, we just need 4 stars or 3 units to help the MC they've over as 2 and soon 3 different R-types will want them. BS, to me, the RMC is one of the strongest A in the game, and HMC is still the best in stock for Red Bar and Firefly. I mean, to be fair, Boot Hill can also use HMC, but the Wheelers imply is a little bit annoying. We should have at least 4-star alternative to replace MC in some comps, even if they are like 70 to 90% as effective as the MC at their job. The elation buff will probably follow. Okay, I have no idea. Okay, don't worry about it. Tesla Sparsi. My love for the game went downhill and up. Story-wise, it's good. Meta-wise, it's unfortunately painful, expensive. Like how I understand, blah, blah, blah. They will say this. If you feel upset or mad for a while, best to quit now and start over again. See how the game. The game is very neglected for the most part. I wouldn't be upset seeing how they live when 4.x comes. Chat. What if I leave, guys? What if HSR's version 4 is so dog shit? I will actually make the exact same video as Gacha Smack, and I'll do the exact same post. I'm done with Honkai style, and the next game that I'm gonna pick up as my main game is going to be Trick Out. Hopefully someday the numbers will be there to show that the way the game is progressing is hemorrhaging user satisfaction and retention, and that they will hit the brakes and scale back. Until that day, I am caring less about the game, blah blah blah. Home Mendo, your friend won't break up with their toxic boyfriend. So you take half a step to prepare yourself to comfort them. That is okay. Personally, I take 3 5-star over 4-star. I have 2 accounts managed to clear comfortably. One of them use cash and blah 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 blah. It is still pretty comfortable for me. Okay, if you have your other way of putting blah blah embedded, then in every game is a must pull. Imagine pulling Skirk just to end up playing Skirk, Shenchil, Rosaria, and Layla, or Peep without Zanya and so on. I mean, he's right. I want to boost Sparsi. Okay, I have no idea what's the leaks. Genuinely do not know how this game is going on this route with so many explodes. What they could have fixed, and no, 4 stars for a whole year is truly shattering and makes people not want to play the game because of the cost of a team is getting lower, but the teammates are 5 stars. I really like Stario, and the power they're going for is so dangerous. They are totally gonna do the same thing with Remembrance, mono relation, and no good alternative like one options. The HP inflation might get even worse when you sort of rise from version 2 to version 3. Now imagine the jump from version 3 to 4 is gonna be absolutely huge of a gap when the teams can barely clear. I really don't have any hope for version 4 at this. Yo, chat, I just realized this is gonna be a crazy long post for the clip channel. I think we have been looking through the comments for like, I think almost 30 minutes at this point, but a wonderful day for the Clippers. We're saying this for the Clippers, right? RMC at least elevated the problem. I genuinely felt he was the most essential character. Absolutely. I haven't confirmed I hate EMC. If it doesn't, okay, if there's no EMC for version 4, then we can go buff explode, right? I agree. HSL has been getting progressively harder to keep up with the inflation, power grid, slow buffing all units, no alternative, blah blah blah. I was a spender in this game, you could say dolphin level, and my absolute biggest drive of the game, the lack of content. I know some people have to bring out the blah blah blah, which is fair, but then what this game has become a login simulator and farming simulator for veterans. Can't express how many long periods there have absolutely nothing to do. The events are so little, it's embarrassing for a live service game. I still love some characters, and I think the story is good, but overall in other aspects, this game has fallen off in my hands. I decided to stop spending altogether. I had really high hopes of Remembrance, but it wasn't what I expected. To this day, I don't have Hyacinth, and yeah, Casual's team is struggling. Sag. Never mind the fact that relic farming is horrendous. In my experience playing with all 3 big holes at some point, HSR has the worst relic RNG of all of them. Anyway, yeah, I agree. Elation will follow the path, and at this point, I've accepted the fact that I'll either just pull for whatever I like or quit very soon. If they don't improve the lack of event issues with 4.x, which they won't, quitting is my only option. And in the meantime, whatever I pull for is just my account to farm relics and a very occasional endgame once a month, which I do and forget about it. So what really is the point? But the same as always, invest pools into my favorite 1.0 completely free to play, where I broke the free to play status for Finance Battle Pass icon. I haven't break my full 3-star clears Since the blah blah blah, MMOC there's 10 flaws either. Skip Sena Jingyuan Silv Law Chart E2 Deal. Deal served me well until early 3.x when I finally got E2 fine on. And yes, I put RDBs on Deal, but I never put units purely for meta reasons. The only time I regret my pull was Jingliu's Lycon. Purely because it was meta to bench Jingliu. It is what I do. After which I haven't brought to endgame because probably Herda main DPS cleared faster than her, plus getting replaced by F9 main DPS afterwards. Because of that regret, I learned that it's always better to invest vertically into your favorites. Absolutely. My E2 S1 Deal survived for 15 patches before he retired. Meanwhile, the E0 S0 Qingli only survived around 5 patches. Same with E0 S05. Like, that's very, very unfortunate. Okay. I'm also a waifu husband player. I skipped all Remembrance characters. My only character are next up Vinon. Boy, I did spend quite a few to get him at first. Also won the Savija lost a banner. Poor Dahlia. Izo Azure for Bodio and Himego Super Break. I invested in Break by having viewed them Boyo signature, so I thought why not ask for the upcoming characters. I'll wait and see what I can create. Sparsely looks fun, blah 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 blah. Okay, I've seen the deal in relations current follow. Gotta sit and wait, I suppose. I only play for my favorites, free to play casual. Don't mind if I only start 2-star or less, but it said that the way it's going, I never expected the game to play. I still have fun playing, but I understand why people are upset. They have a good reason for it. But one thing that makes me mad is no playable screwdom. One fine day. No 4-star Remembrance, and it's only 2026. We seriously need 4-star characters and design of Tingyun, Mose, and Gallagher. Having 4 stars on the relational Remembrance would make the lives of some players a lot easier. Just imagine dropping RNC or highs and you could use a 4-star alternative instead. The MC is overworked at this point, and soon 3 different artists are fighting for the MC. It's frustrating how they always make the MC tied to a waifu bait. Okay, and honestly, if you think about it, he's absolutely right. The MC is tied to a waifu big character, so I kind of what I do. Having a 4-star unit that's like 70-80% effective is gonna be sufficient for majority of the player base. First point is more like an excuse. Well, Hoyo can totally release 4-star like gaming who out damages. Oh, gaming out damages half of the 5-star DBS. Like shit Yaya and Yoi Mia. Wait, chat, who is shit Yaya? Who is shit Yaya in Genshin Impact? Who is this unit? I need a Genshin main. I need a Ayaka? Oh, okay. I have forever been a waifu player. I only pull for characters I love and whose my characters shine. Still, with break team, everything I start playing, gotta say, without player agency and some money spent, this team wasn't surviving under $100 release. Most of you have to either pull either the new meta or heavy investing in items for the old characters with the new support places. You're overrating 4 stars. C6 4 stars are worse than 5 stars with only a few exceptions where the 5 star is dog shit. This post was approved by Sarah of the Lake. Look at E6 Bella, even E0 Jiao Qiu. Even E0 Jiao Qiu, which is one of the worst 5-star, is better than her for Acheron. E6 Bella is nowhere near E0 DPS, which is a direct competitor. E6 Gallagher is much worse than E0 Lingsha, even though Lingsha is... Okay, never mind. This post was approved by Sarah for this and this. But definitely not this, right? Definitely not this. On top of that, E6 4 stars cost the same number of pulls as E2 5 stars on average with no guarantee. Meta is what the devs said what it should be meta. This limits creativity and pretty much kills all the creators. Glad I'm free from this game. No 3.x DPS in my account is hell. I'm afraid Remembrance so well because most of them were hot and cute rivals, some of which cater heavily towards self-insert incels. Damn. Which is a sad tendency and one of the reasons I've dropped Wuthering. Ooh, gameplay issues are not that bad. Power Grip only looks really bad if you compare current units with the current first one. If we look at 3.x only, both Rona and Agleia still do very well, and these problems are solved way more than frequent Nova flares. Lack of 4-star, I said I would like to see them at least once per several months, but I imagine it's really hard to balance all of these units with more and more mechanics added to the game. I just going to hope and pray Aventurine SP. Okay, I don't know where this is leaker, so I'm just gonna move on. HSR power creep literally made me quit because I can't be as if I'm already for every new characters while most heavily incentivized pulling for them and making your old units collect dust on the side. Like you said, content is doable without other units, but it is very mold-inducing. I really miss when I love this game. Makes me sad how Panicani ended with just gotten progressively worse for me. Unfortunately, because the Hoyo characters look so good, but we gotta move on, I suppose. I'm not a big fan of 3.x meta. Remembrance meta is awful. I assume that whatever HSR is in the promise, they gave out 1 free 5-star to compensate. That made me feel cheap in some way. Yes, next time they should give out 10 free 5 stars. Absolutely. I create 2 new accounts in 3.9 3.4, all completely every no signature item, and with these free cards, I managed to clear. That's very nice. I agree with everything you said. The main thing going forward is we need to not repeat the Archer situation. What is the Archer situation? It's a strong free unit, but his reliance on Sparkle or E1 means he is not very useful to players as a 4-star replacement, and the lack of great matchups don't help. If a Nexa was the free unit instead, I think people will be happy about the state of features are. Both Ratio and DHPD were incredibly needed releases, so I suspect Archer was a fluke. Damn. I think these kinds of releases are mandatory to have different archetypes in the game. I just hope that they treat them the same as DOT bring in terms of features more. Notably, Casuals, Evan, and everything were also hype story creators, so they were always going to sell very well. I'm confused. You cite remembers losing a lot for not having signatures, then you cite more casual players who are optimizing, who will not actually care about the level of loss. The free light cone are, in fact, ones. Alright, take a peek over here. Yo, Gemini. Wait. Summarize this in 200 words. Alright, there we go. The author challenges the criticism surrounding the remembrance path, arguing that the perceived light cone issue and dependency on signature was overstated. They contend that the power of the light cone shortage is actually a byproduct of its success because so many remembrance units are viable and fielded simultaneously. Players feel a gear crunch that doesn't exist for less popular paths. As the meta shifts and fewer units are fielded at once, this issue will naturally dissipate. Furthermore, the author argues that synergy in HSR is damage-oriented rather than mechanic-oriented. Unlike certain units that require specific teams to function like Akron, remembrance units like Casuals and Evan will retain their core loops and mechanics regardless of the team. They will simply hit harder with shield synergies. Finally, the author highlights that the requirement for these high synergy teams only exists for meta chasers seeking 0 cycles. For the casual players, the threshold for simply clearing endgame remains accessible. They point out the irony in stressing over meta pools to clear the floor, noting that the small amount of strategies rewarded should take a year to recoup the cost of a 5-star. Would you like me to compare the previous? Nah, I'm good. So there's gonna be that over there. And one last comment. You genuinely need at least E0 S1 new characters to survive endgame mode, and investing more than that is just trapping you in a never-ending cycle of trying to upgrade your team but to no avail. But this is probably just the case with break meta. I don't FK anymore. And with that, we have finally come to the end of Sarah of the Lake's nuclear post, going through every single comment section under our old 0 cycle veteran Ruri Goko's post. Let me know what you guys think in the clips channel. MrPokke's 2 cents. I'll save that for the main channel. Bye-bye. Alright, yo, Clippers, help me get that. I'll save this for the main channel. Yep, I'm just gonna start it. W content for the free clips channel. Word of the day is gonna be Sarah. Right? Very, very good. Very, very nice. Okay, but that is for real. For real. I think we can briefly kind of talk about this a little bit. So 2 main things is basically 4-star units and archetypes. Now for the archetypes thing, I think the best way to go about it has already been done, or rather would be done, by this account called Bob. We will try to go ahead by pivoting away from the battleships, right? Pivoting away from the flagship, away from whatever is going to be version 4, and then we'll see how that's going to be going. Because whether or not you want to essentially invest in the flagship, my thesis, right, my hypothesis is that it doesn't matter. You don't need to invest in a flagship to comfortably clear endgame content as long as you invest in that team that you like, which has been the premise for like a lot of HSR content since day one, right? Invest in the unit that you like instead of like pulling for so many different things and you like overstretch your resources. So I hope to eventually prove this hypothesis true by the end of version 4. The goal right now is basically we don't pull for the flagship, right? We don't pull for the flagship at all. So whatever that may be, we just go for still one team, right? We still are going to be doing like vertical investments, especially as a free-to-play, because I can't afford to pull for so many different team comps. Then we'll see how that's going to be able to match up based on the comparison with the flagship. So that is going to be for point number 2. Okay, this point number 1 thing, right? I think this 4-star thing has been going along for like quite a while. And like, there are like 2 camps. There are 2 main camps. So one main camp is basically whatever that's going to be said over here, which is a lack of 4-star unit is very bad because you don't have an alternative for people that don't pull for the 5-star. Then the other camp of lack of 4-star is that instead you just get a free 5-star, which is better than, in most cases, better than just a baseline 4-star. So those are like the two main things. One is you want more 4-stars to eventually add to your roster, even if they are not going to be as strong as a 5-star. And the other one is you just get straight up free 5-stars and you use them to clear content more comfortably than a 4-star. So I think this one is like way more of like what are your personal preferences as a player playing HSR. For me, I don't find any use of the free archer. All right, like I'm only gonna talk about my perspective as a free-to-play account, right? I wouldn't talk about my MrPokke's main account, but just on my free-to-play account, the free archer I never used. Bro is literally still level 1. Even the 5-star standard like Bronya, I never used. I think bro is literally still level 1. But also on top of that, a lot of the other 4-stars in my free-to-play account, they for the most part also weren't used. But in the early game, I used. So in the early game, my free-to-play account, we had to build like Hunt March 7th. We built our Gallagher, and we combined that with HMC to run Super Break. Super Break Hunt March 7th with Bailu. That we literally use that to clear the early game as and all that kind of stuff. Then I got my first copy of E0 as your Herda, and I benched out Hunt March 7th, and then eventually I transitioned to my second team. And then before we managed to get the Caster's flagship, I was kind of just struggling a little bit here and there because we couldn't even clear our final endgame content because I have no teams, right? But nowadays, if you ask me, do I care about a free 5-star or do I care about having more 4-stars? I think it's a little bit hard to say like which one I will value more, because if you are a veteran, right? If you are a veteran, you would have played this game long enough to the point where you probably would have 2 teams. Like even my account that I made in start of 2025, we already have 2 teams. So whether or not we get more 4-stars or more 5-stars, it doesn't impact the way that I want to build my new teams going to version 4. So for example, if let's just say they come up with like a Elation flagship. Okay, well, we're not going to put, but basically an Elation team, right? And then they come up with like a Elation unit alternative. So let's just say they come up with like a Elation Gallagher, right? A Elation Gallagher or like a Elation Hunt March 7th. And I can either use that a little bit to substitute for a while, but eventually the principle doesn't really change. Like my underlying principle to build up my team as a free-to-play is still going to be focused on investing in that one team for the very good investment. So whether or not, let's just say I put for the Elation Final, right? If Elation Final at the start of the game, we could use things like Tingyun, right? We use Tingyun, Bronya, we use just like standard 5-stars, we use 4-star before Servidra came out. But the moment Servidra comes out, the moment DH3D came out, and the moment Cyrene came out, and the moment you want to get yourself like E2 Final or whatever, I would still eventually replace these units. And I will want to commit. Not having these 4-stars or even the free 5-stars, at best, it's like a temporary solution to make my clears a little bit more comfortable. But at worst, it doesn't change the team building basis of what I would do for my free-to-play account. Like I wouldn't leave my free-to-play account just running that almost baseline no-cost investment. For example, if you were to run Casteris with Pella, Gallagher, and Runway, right? Because that was like a team back then. When Casteris first launched, there was no such thing as Hyacinth. There was no such thing as Avenite. You only had Triby. So if you didn't pull for Triby, people were literally just running like Runway, right? And then you step on RMC, and then you just let it go. You could do that temporarily speaking, but after a while, if you know you want to play Casteris, if you know you want to play, like, for example, the final, right, you will still eventually replace them at the end of the day. And 4-star main DPS is just like, it's purely just for fun, right? If you want to do challenge runs with like Mose, you want to do challenge runs with like Xueyi, it will never be seen as like meta. It is just for like, okay, you know what, you want to do this run, sure, go for it. It's a little bit like the Anton run in Zenless Zone 0. So I think at the end of the day, it wouldn't impact my bottom line on whether or not the free-to-play account can clear content. Having more options to try out different things, it may be like, for example, like more engaging, right? More fun. Like you're sick and tired of playing the flagship. You want to use like the 4-star DPS to try to meta around a little bit. I think that is very, very valid. Because having more 4-stars or like even the free 5-star, like let's just say I want to build my free archer and I can use both, it is like for fun. But I know for a fact that I don't want to invest in those units, right? I don't want to invest in archer, right? I don't want to invest in I don't know, like I don't want to invest in Mose, right? Even if I have Mose. So like if I don't want to invest in it and it's just for fun, it wouldn't impact the overall power scaling within version 3. And I would say even in version 4 if they wouldn't release it. So that is essentially my take on this. It's good as like a way to have like more things to do, but I don't really think it kind of changes anything. So bada boop, bada bite, bada bing. Okay, chat, that is going to be that. I'm sure y'all have like a shit ton of comments, so I'll read through a little bit before we move on, because I'm literally still on Daily Village and it has been 1 hour, bro. I need to do my CM setting. But why people complain about Archer, Spargo, Hanya exits now? They're not strong, still under why people want it from 4 stars. I think it's really just like the question of comfort. All right. Like a lot of the complaints from the post is like they are not like okay, like just go back and look at the comment section yourself, right? I would say like more than half of the comments is like they miss the comfort that early game HSR had, because you could do almost anything and clear. There was no such thing as like a flagship, and there were a lot of different teams because the game at the start was always a lot easier. I think the best way I can think about this as an example is unironically Zenless Zone 0. Zenless Zone 0 was fucking easy back then, bro. Right? Your streamer literally just cleared a holding blindfolded with like, I don't know what goofy R team back then it was. But like as per most gacha games, right? When the time progresses longer and longer and longer, it is gonna ramp up the difficulty whether you like it or not. It is just like a matter of fact. It will always happen. So people that wish that they had the comfort of early days HSR is unfortunately just something that wouldn't really come back, especially not if you want to go ahead and not pull for any units, right? If you do want to commit in that one team, like I'm saying that one single team, doesn't even have to be flagship, right? Phynon, right? You want to do Aglea, you want to do Archer, you want to do like fucking Saber. Okay, Saber is a little bit questionable, but like most of these units, as long as you commit in that one team, I would say that you can still have the option to go for it. But the problem is you wouldn't have the variety anymore. You won't have the luxury of playing all these different teams at the same time, at the same degree of comfort for the current endgame content. Because if you want them to perform, you need to give them vertical investments. It is what it is, right? And then if you don't give them vertical investment compared to a team that you really, really like, then they are not going to do very well. But at the end of the day, you also wouldn't be able to pull for every single team and give every single one with like the equivalent amount of vertical investment without spending money. Or if you are incredibly lucky. Because that is just the business model of the gacha game, right? Like they give you the option, like you can try everything. It's like a free trial period. It's like a startup, right? It hasn't IPO'd yet. It is like a small community where everything is fresh. You can try everything. But as like time goes on longer and longer and longer, the user base would not be able to experience the same scope and depth of like these different team comps unless you want to spend money. It is what it is, right? So if there was going to be a situation where the player base can play every single team comp with the same degree of comfort as back in early days HSR, then why would people even spend money in HSR? You would just not, right? If you can clear everything with like a 0 or like a 1 cost final team, with the same degree of comfort as like a 1 cost Anexa, 1 cost Cassius, 1 cost like, then nobody will be pulling for anything anymore. So it is fundamentally part of a predatory business model to give you the appetizer, right? It is the appetizer towards the end game, especially at the start. And then later on, it's like, okay, you have your free trial at the start of the game. We have a lot. But now it's like they're going to streamline the process. You can still have that one dish for free. But if you want more, you're going to have to pay. Or you just get incredibly lucky. And I feel like that doesn't really just apply to HSR. It's like most gacha games would follow this business model. At the start, it's always like the most welcoming it can be. And then towards the end, and you progress into version 2, version 3, version 4, they will still have a lot of different options to try. But if you really, really wanted them to work very well, you either vertically invest into that one team, or you do it for everything else, but with more money. So that is like the way I see the landscape for this kind of situation. And for HSR, I would say especially so, because at the end of the day, in a turn-based game, there's only that much you can do, right? There's only that much speed tuning, that much like redic checks, crit rate, crit damage. You don't really have a lot of other things that you can like dodge perfect parry. And let's just say even if you can, right? even if you can be like that dungeon main, or like the Anton main, or like the Billy main, in these kind of like action gacha games, where you can like perfectly execute the highest degree, the highest caliber of like skill level expression, it would still be uncomfortable. Right? Like, there's this sentiments where like the comfort for clearing HSR is very, very difficult without the use of premium 5 stars. But be for real, you are probably not that guy clearing with a 4-star in Zenless Zone 0. You are probably not going to be that guy clearing with a dungeon in Wuthering Waves. Because all these units, even though it's possible, you are probably not him. And it would still be uncomfortable to do those things. It's just that for these games, there are like more freedom to go ahead and express it than compared to, let's just say, a turn-based game like HSR, right? So, we need 4 stars to be best in slot. I mean, RMC is just kind of just there, right? I'm just kind of just there, not clearing a 4 star. Okay, I don't know whether Zenless also can do it, but I've seen like Billy mains or like Endo. But like, I feel like this word, right? Comfort as a word is very, very subjective. Because what is comfortable for you, it will not be like what is comfortable to a bronzy in League of Legends is completely different from what is comfortable to MrPokke, a diamond rank 1 jungler, right? So like, if your comfort is not gonna be there in, for example, like a turn-based game, you are probably also not gonna have the same degree of comfort in like an action game, because it would still take you skills, right? It would still take you like input and like spending time, right? Spending time in these kind of action games to like parry and dodge. And if you think that you can do those things without committing time to a game, then I just don't think it's gonna be very fair as a comparison. So yeah, but MrPokke is a diamond jungler though. So respectfully, I have every single fucking right to say that. Prime Super Break ruined people's idea of comfort because Prime Remembrance also does this. I think that is very, very fair. Because the flagship model of a gacha game, right? They do want this to appeal to casuals, which is like the exact same formula for Void Hunters. Right, Void Hunters, like in Zenless Zone 0, they tend to have higher degrees of comfort compared to, let's just say, the Banyu mains, right? Compared to like the Haru Sama mains, right? It is the same thing. So you want to have this one single flagship to appeal to the highest number of players and make them have this sense of comfort. And if people want to step beyond this, right? It's like, this is like the baby pool. It's like the baby pool in like a swimming pool before you go into like the deep end. Before you go for like the class 3, class 4 like diving certificate, right? If you want to explore those things, you will need either skill, time, or money. In HSR's case, I feel like your skill expression is not going to be as high, but like for all these other games, it's kind of the same thing, right? You have cooled your last cool, my man.